because we've been deprived of our living. We've been deprived of our free festivals.
Please don't dominate the rap track if you got nothing new to say.
Large numbers of young people have been relying on these kind of events for years as their main way of earning money.
Train's got to run today.
It's from these beginnings in the early 70s that today's growing travelling community has really emerged. Between early spring and late September, there are now 70 to 80 festivals of various kinds up and down the country, the largest at Stonehenge during the midsummer solstice. It was because of damage to the area around Stonehenge at last year's festival and concern about drug abuse that the 1985 gathering of the clans was banned by way of a court injunction. Alan Lodge spends half the year travelling to festivals with his family and was with the convoy on its way to Stonehenge when they were stopped by police, about 7 miles from the site. He's a photographer by profession, and these are some of the pictures that he and others took during the ensuing confrontation. There are about 400 policemen on duty from various forces, an operation which had been planned for some time, involving 4 times as many men as in previous years. This time, they were determined the festival would not take place. Some members of the convoy tried to pass the roadblock. The police forced them into a nearby Beanfield. Fighting broke out. In the melee, 15 people from the convoy were hurt and received hospital treatment, and the same number of police.
On that day, the police showed their true colours.
I saw officers hitting people over the back of the head with their truncheons, and I personally dealt with 6 injuries that day.
I saw children being kicked down staircases on buses, people being hit over the head with truncheons, people being jumped on and sat on.
They all whipped out and they were going gaga, you know, with truncheons and such.
I watched one particular officer walk down a line of vehicles and smash 6 windscreens, one after the other. The team of policemen behind them dragged the occupants out of those vehicles straight through those windscreens, cutting people. And the police action, they say, was to prevent a breach of the peace occurring. Now, I have never in my life seen a major breach of the peace of the occasion on June the 1st that day with the actions of those police officers.
Cars, trucks and caravans were badly damaged. Some of them were burned during the battle, the police say, by the travellers themselves. By the end of the day, over 600 people had been arrested. The cost of the entire police operation, £800,000. The occasion was to become a watershed in the relationship between the police and the travelling community.
Well, there are photographs taken by not just members of the convoy, but independent photographers from newspapers, showing the police smashing up what were, after all, people's homes. Was that really necessary, that kind of thing?
Well, you see, again, there are aspects which are now being dealt with before the court, but there are 2 sides to every story. And equally, I've got my video film, which would show, if I could show it at this time, perhaps the other side of the coin, but let it come through the courts.
Will we be able to have a look at that video of yours?
Perhaps one day when all the cases are processed through the courts, but I think it's a long time yet.
I mean, you're not ashamed of what happened that day?
Not at all.
It happened, some police forces have said privately, outside Wiltshire of course, that they were quite taken aback by the police reaction on that day.
Well, look, it's always easy for any person outside, whether he be a policeman, a television interviewer, or anyone, to say the police overreacted on that day. First of all, you've got to be there before you can make a proper judgment, in my view. And secondly, I could make all sorts of ill-informed judgments about things that go on all around the country in all sorts of spheres. But I think the real answer lies in what's now being articulated through the courts. And if you notice the results that are coming out, in fact, convictions are flying.
If I leave here tomorrow,
200 of the travellers had sought refuge on Cleef Common in the wake of the Stonehenge trouble. But within a couple of weeks, a local court had ordered them to shift.
Be traveling on now. We're all going on a summer holiday. No more working for a week or two. Fun and laughter on a summer holiday. No more worries for me or you for a week or two.
While the travellers were in the area, police made 52 arrests. Only 11 so far have appeared in court on charges ranging from possession of drugs to shoplifting. 18 charges have been dropped.
If it's true,
The remaining 23 people arrested are still waiting to hear whether they'll be charged with anything.
doing things I always wanted to.
The total cost of policing the travellers' visit to Gloucestershire was around £20,000, but no local people were complaining the night the convoy left. Their progress was hindered by breakdowns, but the police were patient, doing nothing this night that would stop the convoy's final departure.
Consider restarting that when the rest of the convoy reach us, over.
They accompanied them all the way to the Welsh border, where another police force then took over the job of monitoring their movements. For the time being, Gloucestershire was rid of its travellers, as they headed for yet another campsite and almost certainly another crop of problems.
I think the convoy is a problem for society, and they won't go away. They move from county to county. One landowner takes action and they're moved on. So then they move as a convoy. It's no good you or I saying that they can't do it. They will continue to do it, because part of their raison d'etre is not to comply with the normal constraints of law and order or the social order of things, that they want to do their own thing. That's why they use the label free. They want to be free of everything.
There are no laws. There is a common code of practice that you do not thieve from each other and you do not hurt each other. And that when a number of people are in a field against against the elements or the police or whatever, they do hang together and support each other. And so long as there is no greed, anarchy actually works and turns over in this system.